Welcome back, everybody, to the Card Chatter with Refractor Jones and Bobbles and Ball Cards. Hope you guys had a wonderful Monday and enjoyed the episode. Hope your week's moving along well. This is episode 14, so we are moving right along. Want to throw out again, September, this would be the Wednesday, September 21st episode. So September is winding down, and as we've discussed all month, September is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, but I don't think that should ever just be awareness for 1 month. And Mason, he has his mission where he is trying to help other youth who suffer from pediatric cancer and their families. And I'm going to toss up that little QR code for Venmo again for us all to chip in and help out with Mason's mission. And hopefully he can accomplish that. I know looked like he did an event over the weekend that was pretty successful. He goes around doing like lemonade stands at
Lemonade
little
stands. Yeah.
events. And looked like that was pretty successful. So again, Mason putting in the work to work towards his mission, and I would definitely appreciate if you guys were able to help out. If you're not able to donate monetarily, you can always hit that free button that says subscribe, and it will notify us that we have a new subscriber, and me and Refractor Jones will be more than grateful to donate on your behalf. So Refractor, I hope you're doing wonderful this morning, sir. Did you get some sleep last night? There was 2 Monday night games on. We are recording
But
this on Tuesday.
yeah, believe it or not, I didn't watch the Monday night games at all because I had other priorities at hand. I had to move about 100,000 refractors around in my one of my card rooms, so it was a serious chore. So I was up bright and early this morning doing it.
I thought you were going to say you didn't watch the Monday night games because you were rewatching the Dolphins Ravens game.
No, not at all. No.
Well, that was a big W for you guys, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I didn't like I was watching some shows with the missus last night, but I did have my phone up, keeping track of the games. I didn't like actually physically see the games, but I was seeing what was going on. Looks like the Bills ran all over or I guess passed all over the Tennessee Titans, and then the Philadelphia Eagles, I guess, are looking pretty decent. Jalen Hurts might be coming into his own. So um, but again, it's week 2. Anything can happen, and it's a long season ahead. So, anyway, a little brush up on a topic we discussed last episode. Topps has made an announcement that they want to retain the integrity of their product, so to speak, and they gave an explanation that the 5 cards on the checklist that were supposed to be the short printed rookies, they were in fact printed, but according to them, they were not. Uh, they were improperly not put into the collation. Little odd there. That I mean, what's your take on that? Because when I first heard it, I was like, so you're telling me they printed them, but then nobody thought to ask what are we supposed to do with them? Um,
Yeah,
that was a little odd there.
yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I'm calling BS on that one. They absolutely knew what they were doing, and they created a false sense of security that was definitely going to be in the packs, and they weren't. And this whole thing of being in an exclusive silver pack now that you were telling me about, it just screams absolute garbage. It's just a way for them to save face.
Yeah, so the official announcement said, as soon as we became aware of the questions regarding the 2022 Topps Chrome Baseball product, we immediately reached out to the manufacturer to uncover any issues. We now understand that the planned bonus short print parallels of 5 rookie subjects were incorrectly not included in the collation of the hobby boxes, as the short print parallels were originally not part of the set and later added for an additional chase element. There was unfortunately a technical miscommunication about the product mix in the production process. So, you know, first off, I kind of mentioned this in the episode that I was curious if this was going to be a situation where they realized the product was weak because they were riding the wave on Wander Franco, and when he got hurt and didn't have the greatest of seasons, it softened their product line a lot. Like Wander was going to be the guy selling all of the Topps products, and he didn't turn out to what they expected. So I was wondering if this was a late addition. They confirmed that here, and it was to add an additional chase element, aka put something in here so you'll buy it at $300 a box. Um, so anyway, the one key that is still murky in this is it says it was incorrectly not included in the collation of hobby boxes. Uh, and this doesn't say anything whether or not they're in retail, and I would assume that. I mean,
So
maybe I'm wrong, but if they
are
tossed them
they
in retail,
strictly
wouldn't
are
they
they
have used the
strictly
whole
hobby?
run? What's that?
Are they strictly going to be hobby exclusive?
Uh, I don't believe so.
Well,
I
then,
thought they were supposed to be because they're on the checklist.
okay. Well, then they should
They're on the
be.
main
You
part
know,
checklist,
they
so
should
I
be
would
both,
think that they would be included in retail.
right?
Um, but it says in the collation of the hobby boxes, so that's still a little murky area there. I guess we'll have to see. Um, I guess after a bunch of blasters and stuff or megas are opened to see if any pop out of those. Um, for all future shipments of Chrome and for customers that have already purchased product through Topps.com and hobby shops or breakers that purchase directly from us. So that's a key thing there. It says hobby shops or breakers that purchase directly from Topps.
Mhm.
As we know, there is not many accounts that are direct related to Topps.
Yeah.
My LCS, and I'm not gonna put his name out there. He told me there's less than 100 direct accounts for Topps. That leaves a lot of people that wound up with this product that isn't going to get taken care of. It sounds like.
Yeah. So what you're saying is
But
a bunch of wholesalers, which is a handful only, you know, because they're going to say, oh yeah, we distributed them out to a bunch of people, but you didn't. You're only distributing them out to the wholesalers. So there's a handful of those wholesalers, and they're going to have stacks of these silver packs, and they're just going to start selling them on the secondary market because there's no way for you to keep track. Hey, Bobbles, you bought a box. Hey, Refractor Jones, you bought a box, and how are we going to be able to prove that we bought that box, other than showing the box itself and
yeah,
showing the track number on the inside of the box.
it's definitely an interesting situation here because it seems the way they put this, if it was purchased direct from Topps or Topps.com, they're going to provide one, and it says this is weird. It says we will provide one additional 2-card silver pack for each 2022 Topps Chrome Baseball Hobby Box purchased. The short print parallels will be randomly inserted in these packs. We are working directly with every distribution channel of the product to ensure these packs are properly distributed through the original sellers. So, a couple things here too.
Okay, hold on
One,
one second. Let me ask you a quick question before you go on. In those silver packs, if you're not getting a rookie, what are you getting? Just another base card from the 2020 set?
Well, that's a great question because, and that's one of my questions I have with this.
Okay.
I don't ever remember silver packs being a part of Topps Chrome.
Hmm.
The silver packs were always like with flagship or like national promotions, that sort of thing.
Sure.
I don't ever remember, and also I don't ever remember a two card silver pack.
Right.
Like silver packs were, I think they contained 5 cards.
Five. Yeah.
The
Five
five
cards.
mojos, like that's the
Yep.
Wander Franco that we pulled out of from 2022 Series One flagship.
Uh-huh.
The orange one was, out of a silver pack. Uh, so I don't know where these silver packs come from. Like it almost seems like, and I'm gonna give them credit. I think pressure has been induced on this. Maybe with Fanatics having a piece, uh, being the owners now, they felt like they needed to address it. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. Let's
Hmm.
be clear on that. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. They could have came out and said, "Look, they were on the checklist, but checklists are always subject to change." And,
Yeah.
and there's always like fine print that says that, the final checklists are always subject to change.
Hmm.
So they could have played that card. I think there was so much heat on this because those cards were simply added, as they even admitted themselves, as a chase element to get people to spend the money that they are on these hobby boxes, that they knew they had to do something. I'm wondering if these had even already been printed now that this comes out and they're going to be putting these silver packs. I mean, who's to say they didn't call the manufacturer up and say, "Hey, run us, 20,000 of each copy, 100,000 run of the 5 subjects, and we're just going to pack them up."
Hmm.
Now what do the 2 card silver packs contain? I have no idea. That's a great question. I don't know if it's more of the cards that came from like Series 1, Series 2 silver packs where they had the 87 design with the mojo pattern on them. Could be more of those. But I don't know. It's a weird situation going on. There has been conversation about it already. Folks are saying these short prints now will not be as valued as much because it's going to be essentially easier to hit. I mean, you took
Yeah. You're
the
taking the chase element right out of it.
yeah, you're taking the chase, especially if it's, fairly easy to hit one of them out of these silvers. Let's say it's even 1 in 20 silver packs, has one of the 5 SPs, that then in turn doesn't really make them feel like that short printed.
Right.
And it might be tougher than that. I'm just throwing a number out there. But anyway, little follow up on that because that was a topic we discussed for last episode. And interestingly enough, Topps released a statement on that late last night,
Oh,
and
because we were talking about it. That's why.
it was us. They joined the chatter.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't comment. I'm mad. They didn't
Oh.
comment.
Oh. That's okay.
So moving on from that, and this goes a little bit in a similar fashion on what we've been talking about last episode and this one. It deals with the manufacturing side of things. There's been a rumor going around, and I'm calling it a rumor because it hasn't officially been announced by any parties involved. Um, whether it happens or doesn't happen, I'm not here to discuss that. Um, but the word is Fanatics is going to buy Panini. It's apparently all but announced. And again, I'm not here to say whether that is true or false or get into that wormhole. But I did want to discuss with you because, we both have opinions on it. Um, Not necessarily whether Tops or not Tops, but Fanatics buys Panini, but whether or not it really matters. Like, well, our opinion on, do we even need this in the hobby? Um, I'll let you go first. I will make sure it's clear to all listeners. Refractor is not pro Panini. He prefers Topps products. So, but I still would like to get your take, even though I know your answer, um, on your opinion of it and why. And then I would like to, I'll follow up on that.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'm not a Panini guy, and um, I just feel that it was pointless for them to actually even attempt. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen all after the acquisition of Topps, because the first company that gets acquired is the strength. The second company, you automatically devalued that company in our market anyway. So by devaluing, Panini to the point that now they no longer have that strong strength value because their product is overproduced, oversaturated, and it's just not. It's run its course. So in my personal opinion, I I don't see any extra added value in buying the Panini line because you're not getting the overseas, market. You're not controlling the sticker end of the business. If they were controlling the sticker end of the business, then maybe I would say, hey, yeah, it would be worth it. But for the American side of Panini, I don't feel that it's really a value play for them to have it. It's just one of those things like, hey, you know what? We made you an initial offer. You guys didn't like our offer. We went to Tops. Tops said, hey, we better get smart here because there's going to be a takeover. So let's line our feet with the right one. And they did. Tops may have sold a little bit cheap, but bottom line is that they live to fight another day. And now with Panini being the the stepchild, let's say, and not the one that's really not in demand or wanted, they basically devalued that company by acquiring Tops first. So again, I'm not a Panini fan, and I don't really see any need to to carry over the Panini product. If it was me personally, I would have let him go all the way to the very end, and then offered them basically 3 to 4 cents on the dollar, for the company, and then acquired it at maybe 7 to 10 cents on the dollar. But what do I know? I'm
So,
just a
a,
liquidator.
a couple questions on that.
Mhm.
You mentioned the sticker aspect, which is basically Panini Italia. Um, Panini has an Asian market. They have the choice products, like the Prism choices, the optic choices, all that stuff. They've been adding more and more and more product to those choice lines and those Tmall lines, and those are for like Asia and Australia. Do you think? And again, we're hypothetically speaking. We have no details on if anything is going to be happening. This is all just based off of the rumors and reports that Fanatics is buying Panini. So we don't know how this will ever even play out or if it does play out. But anyway, let's let's hypothetically speak here. Does Panini have a play on saying, let us we'll sell you our American side of the business. We'll keep the Italia side and do all the stickers for over there. But we want a piece of the licensing to continue making products for our Asia line, like our Asian and um, Australian line. We'll continue making the Panini Choice stuff. Do you think that could come into play, or would that be too mixed with the licensing?
Yeah, I
Or
think it
does
would
Fanatics
be.
have that right to kind of split that, like, okay, you can use our license? Like, is there, because I honestly don't know
Well,
if
if
they're
it, if
allowed
they're
to.
if they're two separate entities, then they're two separate companies. So just because you're buying, you know, a piece of a company, if it's already been subdivided, and it's just like a piece of property. If you have 2 acres of land and you want to subdivide that land, and you want to sell off an acre of it and keep an acre of it, you have to subdivide it. And that's basically the same thing as far as this goes. In my opinion, what you're kind of saying there is that you're trying to say that maybe they're going to try to subcontract them out and use that, to use that line and say, hey, give us a piece of the action of the licensing. There's no way that's gonna happen, because the Players Association and everyone else is going to jump up and say, hey, wait a minute, we didn't agree to this. You're taking a piece of our pie away by agreeing to something like this. So it's either a straight acquisition or not. That's just the way it is.
So with that, then in that scenario, then Fanatics is also going to have to purchase the the Asian line, because although a lot of the product winds up over here in the States, the Asian market is huge in sports cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it just is.
Hmm.
And so that'll be curious. And that's not anything I've heard anyone speak on, is could this be a situation, and could it be a reason that Fanatics is even buying Panini, is to obtain that market? Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, that I could understand a little bit. To
Yeah.
just buy Panini, in my opinion, um, the only argument I've heard for it that made sense was to be able to start, Fanatics being able to take over the licensing earlier,
Get a
because
jump start.
by acquiring Panini, then they could go ahead and start making product.
Hmm.
Personally, I don't feel the acquisition is necessary, and I honestly don't even care for the acquisition, because you mentioned overprinting, and I'm gonna argue this is something worse than even the amount of cards they're printing for like each specific set. Like, if they want to have 40 different parallels in Prism, so be it. My issue that I've had is all of the different products they're printing. Like, it seems like on some release days you get 4 different products for the same sport, all from Panini, and it's like it you know I don't know if people think about that in terms of what that does to the market even more. You talk about, well, there's 30 plus thousand Zion Williamson Prism base cards, and I'm just hypothetically throwing numbers out there. But think about not just that Prism card. Think about, you know, the illusions and the chronicles and the you know Panini ones. It's like there's so many products out there now,
Hmm.
and all that does is then confuses the market further,
Yeah.
and they want to, it
Saturation.
saturates, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, eh, let's take for example somebody that might be a player collector, because those do exist out there.
Sure. Oh yeah.
It's great in a sense because there's more options, but at the others, it's also bad because a player collector will never be able to obtain every card of said player. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, there's a point it becomes too much.
Right. And
And
and and to be fair, Tops was the first one that did that. You know, they kind of they kind of killed the individual player collector long ago. So so I know that there's Panini fans out there, and they're going to say that I just want to hate on Panini and all and stuff like that. I'll spank who needs to be spanked. Tops was the first one that did that and oversaturated the whole aspect of a certain card to make it nearly impossible for a player collector to acquire every card of their favorite player.
I don't, I don't know that I would ever or can ever remember though. I mean, when I talk about the amount of products Panini's making, you can individualize each product. Let's look at the high end market. for Panini, and that's something that they do bring to the table that Topps lacks. If we're going to talk about Prism, Optic, Select, Mosaic, all of that, we don't need that stuff because the collectors have been, the hobby has been, and it was one reason why everybody was like, don't let the Topps license go. Everybody has wanted Topps Chrome back for basketball and football. Like, that's a
Oh yeah.
no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay. So with Topps Chrome, you don't need Prism, Optic, Select, Mosaic, whatever other shiny chromium card that they've put out there. And I would argue Topps needs a high end. Dynasty is okay for baseball, but no, like there's nothing attached to a Topps brand that screams national treasures or exquisite or something like that for Upper Deck. So I can
Right.
see the Panini high end market being useful um, in the hobby, but at the same time, as I just said, they keep producing new and new and new products. So in basketball alone, they had Opulence, Immaculate, National Treasures, Flawless, Eminence, um, Panini One, or in basketball it's Panini 1 and 1.
Mm.
Um, let's see, what else is there? Impeccable. Um, yeah, I know I'm missing some, and that's bad when I basically have, I mean, that's over 5 products, and this is high end. This is the high end product. This is your RPAs, your higher end products. These are like 5-figure boxes.
Hmm.
And some of them might not be, it might be 5-figure cases, but either way, to get a 4 boxes or 8-box case or whatever, you're going to be buying a new car basically. Um, there's a lot of that product out there, and that's just on the upper tier. You go to the lower tier, and even with Prism alone, like I mentioned, the Choice product, you have Prism and then Prism Choice, and then you have like these hybrid products that they started making, where it'll be a combination of like the regular like H2, Prism H2, Prism No Huddle, Prism Fast Break, all this other stuff that they start mashing these products up to create a
Hmm.
whole nother new product. And I don't think that is necessary. Um,
Well,
I think
it is to their bottom line, but I mean, to the hobby, no. I mean, yeah, again, because
I think it hurts the hobby,
it does.
and
It's oversaturation.
I think eventually it's going to hurt them because I hate using the term right now, but if you want to coin the term junk wax, eventually people aren't going to buy every product that's released like this. They're going to manufacture it, and I know it doesn't cost them that much to manufacture and package and all that stuff, but it is wasted materials at the end of the day. It is boxes that's just going to sit on shelves and people's not going to open because they'll learn that this is, I don't even like to say it this way, but it's trash. And there might be the casual here or there that likes the product, but overall, the majority knows it's just another product, that it's
Hmm.
a filler product essentially to get you to the next big release. It's just something to throw out there, put on the release checklist. To me, I think if the hobby took a less is more approach, it could actually help because, you know, if we
It,
slim the fat off the meat to, and it's okay to have some of these filler products, like I mentioned, Chronicles.
mhm.
Chronicles isn't a high end product by no means. It is a fun product to rip. You're going to get a lot of your rookies out of it. They're not going to have massive tons of value. You can pull autos and stuff. It's a very fun, used to be cheap and affordable product to rip. Um, that kind of product, I am 100% all for, to allow just somebody that likes to open packs, or a kid or something like that that wants to get, some rookies out of it, because it's a loaded
Yeah,
product with rookies.
yeah, entry level product. That's
Yeah, like, and it's fun. It has various different card designs in it,
mhm.
and they
Yeah,
make it a very fun product. Is it meant for high end value? Absolutely not. But it's a great starter product, I'll say.
yeah,
I think those have a place in the hobby. But
yeah,
some of this
absolutely.
stuff, it's legit just getting something on the release,
Mm,
and I'll refer back, and this is one that is really recent, um, that I don't think got any attention until the boom happened. But it was 2018-19, Luka rookie year, Prism Mosaic. I distinctly remember they were forcing people to buy that product because they couldn't even give it away.
yeah,
Like, they were telling people, you have to buy these, and they do that with many products, but this is one
mhm,
that I know for a fact. You have to buy this in order to get access to this.
right.
So people were buying it, and then they were essentially just giving it away. They were taking losses,
Yeah,
but they had to buy it as a gateway, as a key to be able to unlock other products that they wanted to get.
yep,
It's a product that, because people see the Prism name now and the mosaic pattern, I am a fan of it. I think it's a nice pattern for products,
mhm,
but it's a product that everyone hated. Like,
right.
nobody wanted it.
Yeah, but it's no different
And
than this in the '90s. With tops and upper
yeah,
deck. I mean, we just let's speak of upper deck. Upper deck, you had to for you to get an SP, case to buy any nice SP product, you had to buy collector's choice. What the hell were you doing with collector's choice as value? Everybody knew that collector's choice was just garbage, but it was an entry level product, and they still had to sell it. They still had to get rid of it. So that was their way. Push it out the door and require somebody. Hey, you want an opportunity to buy the SP product? No problem, but you have to take X amount of cases of collector's choice in order to buy your one or two cases of the SP product. I mean, so it's been done forever.
yeah, and again, I almost think if they would just slim the fat off the bone a little bit, and put more effort into, like, imagine this. Imagine if Panini actually put some care into Prism and made it a nice design, and made the cards good quality and worth the $1,500 a box price tag. Imagine what that could do. Like, instead of these cards that are cut like they were done in 1958, and they're so off centered that you have a piece of another card attached to it, and the print marks, because they had to fire the machines up so quickly that they don't, they're not cleaning the manufacturing lines and everything. And I think personally, I could deal without some of these products that I have zero interest in, to get a better like, it would be worth it to spend more on a product that I actually would enjoy owning, than get a like, it turns me off on a lot of the products after seeing them, seeing the quality. And Tops
Push it
is guilty of this as well.
right.
I got burned on, some of the Montgomery Club exclusive products, and it put a very sour taste in my mouth. I'll buy a Tops first edition box. I spend, what was it, $400 or something on the box. I can't even remember what it was. It was a pretty hefty price tag, and I get the box, open the packs, and they're all like terribly off centered and everything. And at that point, you're just like, well, this was a big L, you know?
Hmm.
So I would much rather open a product and not have that concern than have a ton of products that I have zero interest in.
Yeah,
And
But do you
I'll
see
be
where
curious.
hold on? Do you see where my mentality comes into play now? Where I've told you how I've completely just about faced my whole collecting. I no longer buy wax to enjoy it because it's not enjoyable any longer. The price of entry is just it's crazy. I would rather go out and buy collections and enjoy myself through there, and I'll have more to
Right.
play with. And it's a lot funner to me. I just can't see me going out and spending 500, $1,000 for a wax box and then opening that wax box to be disappointed when I know that I can take that money and go travel around, get to see different places, meet different people, and buy collections. It just makes
No,
more sense to me.
yeah, I 100% agree with that. The only issue is that happens in that area is I think if everybody like or I can't even say everybody, but if more and more people start doing that, then I know personally just in my area alone, there's not enough collections to make that even possible for sale.
Mm.
And at times, like the ones I have bought, I I've had a couple purchases now of collections. I would say some were very good and some I got burned.
But
And
did you have fun opening, playing with that stuff versus opening up a single box that you're going to have 6 to 15 packs at most to play with? Did you
there's
get did you get more enjoyment out of cracking a box that has 6 to 15 packs, or buying a collection and having that time to go through that whole collection to see what was there?
to be honest with you, being that me and the missus both actually enjoy opening the wax,
Hmm.
if the prices like and I'm gonna use Topps Chrome as an example. I'll use it since it's the most recent one and we discussed the price point of it last episode. Let's say that box was, I don't know, 175 even, which is nearly 2x increase over what it was in 2019. I would be more willing to spend that than 300. And I know this sounds crazy because you're like, well, you're still going to likely take a loss.
Hmm.
I think the issue is like on the collection that I said I got burned on, it's very disheartening to know, especially if like I didn't buy that collection with the intent purpose of keeping all of the cards. You know,
Hmm.
I bought the collection with the purpose of piecing it out, taking stuff out I wanted, and then selling the rest to recoup funds and recycling the process.
Yeah.
So it's very disheartening when you do that and it's a very large collection at that. And then you realize, okay, not only am I likely not going to get my money back, but it's going to take me a very long time to even try to recoup it. And a lot of this stuff, I don't even know what I'm going to be able to do with. So going into a box and knowing the likelihood that I may lose, but have those, moments of fun and me and her both opening packs and, you know, there is a fun element there, win or lose. But when it's gotten to the price point it is, it has been more discouraging. If I'm only expected to get maybe 30 bucks, well, I don't want 10%. If I got $30, you know, and say I lost 125 or whatever, that's not going to be fun either.
Hmm.
But and to be honest, it's one reason I don't buy a lot of hobby. Because of the price point. I'd rather go get some cello packs or some blasters or honestly chrome. I like mega boxes. Because my favorite refractor is the X Fractor.
Hmm.
And those are more limited, they're exclusive to megas. So really, when Chrome comes out, one thing I get excited for is megas. Now, there's history with the Topps Chrome thing, and that's why I used it as an example. In 2019, that box I shared on Instagram, we hit a very big card out of it, out of one box. And the missus got all excited. She didn't even know how big the card was, but it was a Red Wave Refractor Tatis out of 5. Huge card. 2020, we bought 2 boxes and pulled a Lewis Robert Blue Refractor autograph. So in 2021, my plan was, hey, let's try 3 boxes this year, right? And there was going to be a little pattern of a trend going because of that one boxer that I did with her in 2019.
Yep.
And one of my favorite products that I can't wait to come back. It's expensive in baseball now, but I love opening Bowman. I have always had luck opening Bowman products. Even the ones that she bought me for Christmas this past year was from 2014. I didn't get the Michael Taylor Superfractor, but one box had Julio Urias first Bowman auto and the Kris Bryant. I did not expect to pull the Kris Bryant first Bowman auto out of there.
Do you still have that?
So the Bryant, yes, I do.
Yeah. What are you doing with that?
I am going through my collection right now to kind of condense, so to speak. I'm trying to get more focused. So we'll talk about that later. I
Okay.
haven't decided if I'm going to hold that one or not. Because this is another topic that we could go on. I love how when we have these conversations, other things pop up that we could talk about, because I'm finding that I'm a little scatterbrained right now, and I want to bring my focus back in onto the more enjoyable pieces to my collection.
Mhm.
So I want to bring it into a more focused cloud. I let things grow, and then I'm like, all right, it's time to
Wheel it
wash
in.
it off again, and then let's start back over. Not start
Yeah.
over, but let's bring it back in a little bit, and then we'll let it grow again. And it's a fun part of the hobby.
Yeah.
But that's a phase I'm at right now, is I'm trying to squeeze it back in a little bit. And
Yeah.
we had the national and everything, and as you've seen, I buy a little bit of everything. And sometimes I sit there and I'm like, well, why have I held on to this? I don't really have an attachment to this player. I don't really
Right.
watch this team. Why did I keep this card? And
Because
if
it's
it's not
cardboard.
speaking, yeah,
It's cardboard.
but at a point you have to realize it's getting a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
I
need
hear
to
you.
bring it. I need to draw it back in a little bit. So that's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
at right now.
I just
Um,
broke down. I just broke down 18 3,200 count boxes that are leaving my collection, and these were all things that I ended up purchasing from other large collections and stuff, because I'm trying to rearrange the the racks, my big custom racks that I had built just to hold all my refractors as it is. And I'm like, all right, I'm out of space. I'm now putting refractors, stacking 3,200 count, 5,000 count boxes on the ground, and I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want them on the ground. So
the
it's like,
the the listeners can't see, but you can see my room behind me and just how many boxes. Like, I have racks myself right outside the door here along the wall that has all the Nationals cards on the wall. That
yeah,
whole wall is nothing but metal racks with big boxes.
yeah,
Behind the Nationals flag is a big walk-in closet that has nothing but boxes in it. I have a storage room in my basement that has a bunch of boxes. So I completely get it. And that's why I
yeah,
said I'm kind of trying to rope things in, because I've let it kind of grow out of hand. And so now I'm kind of
yeah.
going through things and what do I need? What do I don't need? What I want to keep? What I don't. But anyway, so to the back to the topic at hand. Overall, I'm curious to see where they go with it. I'm curious to see if this was just a play to start producing the ML or the NBA and NFL products early. Is it a play just to use maybe the upper, the higher end product stuff? Because quite honestly, if they mash all of the Topps products together, with all of the Panini products, I think we're going to have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people will say, well, it's still Topps and Panini, but you still got the same company owning them. Like
Yep.
there's the competitive level of it will then be gone because
Yep.
it's not going to be Topps and Panini. It's going to
Right.
be Fanatics.
Once there's a monopoly, everything drops. It no longer, there's no longer competitiveness in there to where, one company says, "Hey, I have to do this to top this other competitor, or I have to, option this to make this more enticing to our product versus their product." So
Yeah, and
it
the
it
innovation
it,
and the um the creativity goes out the window.
it does.
It's kind of like with Prism, like okay, they just move the angle of the like border each year.
Yeah.
They just make it a different like pattern on the border. That's all they
Yeah.
do. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, congrats guys. I mean, that took a while.
Yeah.
They put they go in Photoshop and put the free transform tool on, and they just move the lines a different way to create a new design. I'm like, well, great, awesome design. At least Topps gets a little creative, and we don't know, is this year's product going to have borders? Are we going to be able to read the names on the card? They get a little creative. um but yeah, I actually, I think where we are is, if this goes down, and I'm saying if, because nothing's been official,
But it
but
will. I
if this
mean,
goes
it has
down,
to.
I hope that someone sits down at a table with a group of people and says, okay, here is all of our Topps lines. Here is all of our Panini lines. We need to pick X amount, and I don't care if you pick it from Topps or you pick it from Panini, but we need to pick X amount of products, and we do a low tier or an entry level, a middle tier, and a higher end. And you get so many in lower tier, so many in middle tier, and so many in higher end product.
Hmm.
And here's our list. You guys, we all sit down and figure out which ones we're keeping, and then scrap the rest of it.
Well, let me ask
Because
you this. Let me ask you this, because you say scrap it. Would you be opposed to, if you were one of these people sitting at that table, would you be opposed to saying, okay, let's put X, Y, and Z on the back burner this year and not produce that line? Next year, we'll put it out and we'll throw it up out there and just put it on a rotation and just keep cycling through the different products to keep it basically fresh is what you're doing, because if you don't, you might as well scrap them if you're going to do it.
I
I mean,
wouldn't
personally
like that.
myself, I would chop them, but
Yeah, I wouldn't
but
like that
but you're still going
because
to have fans of certain products out there, so you still want to
so
keep your feet in the water.
rather than do like you're saying, I wouldn't do that, because then you're going to run into the issue of, like, as you said, there's going to be fans of one product and not another one. And on the year that some hyped rookie comes out, it's going to be the product that nobody liked, and everybody's going to complain about it,
Yeah,
and you're
but
going
then
to put more.
that would draw interest to that product, and it would definitely oversell that product.
I
So
think
that would.
rather I think rather than do it on an alternating year, I would be open to the Chronicle style product, where all the ones that are washed clean from the slate
Uh-huh.
are still the designs are used for Chronicles types products,
That would be acceptable as well. I mean, that would be good.
like a mixed product line,
Sure.
and you could even do it as like a medium tier where there could be some RPAs in there and that sort of stuff, if they
Hmm.
swipe out, let's say they take away Immaculate or whatever, and you could have like, it doesn't have to be a high end thing. um the other thing I'm really curious on is Panini got haywire, and Top started to with the Bowman U stuff. With these NIL licenses and everything, are we going to see more and more and more of these collegiate products coming out. Because I think when that started, it watered down the card market as well. And when I say watered down, I don't want to, and the term we like to use is poo-poo. I don't want to poo-poo on all the products because there are fans of some of it out there, and there's a place for some of these products in certain people's, like
Yeah, you got a
Panini
lot of
Stars and
you got
Stripes
a
baseball. I
you got
have
a lot
some.
of college collectors out there. So I mean, there's people in this hobby that only collect college cards, and they'll say, "Hey, I like Penn State. I like UCLA. I like, should I even say USC? I said that real low, right? Did you hear it?
I heard you. I
Oh,
heard you.
darn. Okay, but I mean, there are college collectors out there. Exclusively college collectors, where they'll only collect their stuff of their favorite college. So I mean, there's a place for everybody.
There is a place for it. The reason I use the term like water down the hobby is because the more and more stuff that gets put out there though is taking more and more money away from, let's be real, like I don't have a bottomless wallet. So there's a lot of stuff that's being made and produced that if someone buys that, it's taking away from their ability to buy, if they buy X product, they may not be able to buy Y product.
Hmm.
And that's why I said, like, I would like to see the less is more approach where give us the stuff that people are more high on. And they should all have sales reports to even play into this, like which product sells more, you know.
Yeah.
It
Well, it all sells, so it's just a matter of what sells faster. What sold out upon release. What took a little bit more for us to get, finally sold through, and that type of aspect. 'Cause it all gets sold right now. In the last 3 years, there's nothing that's been sitting anywhere. It always gets sold. So
so let me ask you on these terms. And I want you to be neutral. I don't want you to be Topps exclusive here.
okay.
So I'm gonna sit and try to think on the top of my head. Topps has Topps Chrome. They have Topps Finest. They have Topps Chrome Black. They have Stadium Club Chrome. They have, if you want to include it, I'll exclude it for this. I was going to say Bowman Chrome, but I'll exclude it because that's prospects mostly. Um, what else am I forgetting here? They have the Allen and Ginter Chrome product. They have.
They have a saturation. Yes, yes,
Okay,
they do.
so I'm up to 5, and I know again I'm like doing this all off the top of my head, just trying to remember all the products. So
Uh,
there's 5,
but that
and then
tells you right
Panini.
there. That tells you right there that the market is saturated, right?
Well, let me get to Panini because we have
Okay.
Prism, we have
Okay.
Optic, we have Mosaic, we have oh, I was on a roll. Select. Um, let's see. This is difficult when I'm just sitting here trying to name off the top of my. It's like if you
Right.
asked me with just randomly, I'd be able to name a bunch off. But when I'm actually trying to think about it,
But that,
I see
but
now why
Bobbles,
Family Feud gets tough.
yeah, but Bobbles, that speaks volumes right there. That you're at that point there because you sit there and you take a step back and you go, man, the market really is saturated. Because if I can't
Right.
rattle off these brands like the back of my hand, like knowing my own children, because how engaged I am in this hobby, that says the market is saturated. There's too much of it out there.
And that's kind of my point. Like if they use everything from both products, I mean, are we going to end up with a Topps Chrome slash Donruss Optic release for football all in
Ugh.
the same week? I mean, then you're putting consumers in a position where let's not, let's remind everybody where the the price of Prism was $1,500 a box. How can anybody afford to buy it? Like, what if you're a fan of both Donruss Optic because you like the rated rookie and you like Topps Chrome because it's always, it goes back to the early days, and it's been, one of the long-standing chromium products.
Mhm.
A consumer's not going to be able to afford it.
Nope.
And then they're going to have to make the choice. Well, which one do I get today? Do I get Chrome? Do
Right.
I get Optic? Do I, you know, it's going to be too difficult. And then a player collector, good Lord help them, because, with Panini not having the baseball license, it's somewhat, some people will buy Panini baseball products, some people won't. I have some, like my Michael Taylor, some of the cool cards I have of his are Panini, but they're unlicensed. Some people just don't touch them. If you start licensing all of this stuff, imagine if this was 2020 and we had all the Topps products out there and
Mhm.
all of the Panini products out there, and somebody was trying to go buy a Joe Burrow or a Justin Herbert. The first question, and one of the biggest difficulties of anybody that steps foot into this hobby that has not been in it before or has been out of it for any length of time, is, what do I buy?
Right. Exactly.
That's one of the most common questions, is like, I don't know
Exactly.
where to get started. I went to Walmart and there's 60 products on the shelf and I don't know if any of this stuff is any good.
Yeah.
That's one of the most common questions. And if they continue and mash all of these products together from both Topps and Panini and have them all licensed, we are going to have such confusion, because and at the end of the day, we could sit here and
That's the
say,
problem with with this whole thing. We're not we're not looking at it as a collector. We're looking at everything as an investment. And that's why for me, I have no problem with any of it. I look at it 100% as a collector. Everything has value to me, no matter what, whether it's a high-end product or a low-end product, because I'm a collector. And I think that's
and
where they have to come to come into play and say, okay, hey, yes, I'm coming into this because it's it's a collector thing for me, not a cash cow for me.
and I would I understand that part, but let's be honest. One of the main reasons the hobby grew, like, over the past 2 years now, is because of the monetary value attached to the cards. Like, everybody is an entrepreneur in sports cards now. Right, can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
It probably took off your headphones whenever, I think you got a call or something.
I
I'm
did.
guessing
Yes,
when, yeah,
I did.
it
I got a phone.
it transferred your headphones over. But anyway, I know you got to go
Yeah,
soon, so we'll wrap
the
this up
rescue
here.
yeah, the rescue mission was
But
calling me already.
what I was gonna say, just, to start closing this out, is I get the collector side of it, but let's be real. There's there's a lot of people that grew this hobby. There's a lot of reason that Fanatics is buying these companies. They didn't just do it to say, "Hey, we appreciate collectors. We want to fix this hobby," right? We know they bought it to make money. We know many people came into this hobby because they seen sports cards as an alternative asset
Yeah, right.
and entrepreneurship,
Sure.
space that could be had, and the monetary value that's attached to the cards. So we could sit here and say, buy whatever one you like, enjoy them all. They're all cardboard. They're all players, in the sports we love. And that
Yeah.
there's people out there that are legitimately like that. But in order for this to sustain, and what I mean sustain is the growth, to continue growing and the people staying in the hobby, there has to be, and whether we like it or not, there has to be value attachment to the cards, because
Sure.
the sad part is many people don't really care about collecting them. Like, they don't even they simply buy a card just with the sole intent purpose of selling it as quickly as they can for whatever profit they can.
Yeah.
So
I think the bigger question is what is your interpretation of value?
what is my interpretation of value?
Yeah, of
Or
anyone's. That's the bigger question at hand, you know, because
well, I
if
mean that yeah, that's a topic that can get twisted around because it's just like the interpretation of investment. Like, are
yeah,
you investing? Like people call themselves an investor, but all they're really doing is flipping. And if you really look
right.
up the definitional term of investor, it's long term. It's not, buy
Yep.
today, sell next week. So they call themselves
Thank
an
you very
investor and they're
much.
not.
Right. Thank you. Because that's exactly
And
where I was hoping you were going with that, because that's why I
yeah, I
left
mean,
it
I could sit
open
here
ended.
and say, I could say I'm an investor, and somebody's like, well, but you say you're collecting, and I could be like, well, I'm investing my time,
Yeah.
So there's all different ways to twist the terms and definitions. It's why I say, and people think I'm negative sometimes. You have met me in person. I try not to be a negative person at all. And maybe it's just my tone that makes it sound negative, but I like to speak truthful about things. I like to speak passionately about things. And, I'm just, that's why I like doing this with you because we can have a discussion and it's not just me ranting or people thinking it's just solely my opinion. We're like talking this out here. It's no right or wrong. You got to do it this way. You got to do it that way type thing.
Right. Right.
Um, because I think sometimes text wise, it feels that way. I want everything to grow. I want people, I don't want it to be so saturated that I can't find nothing for myself or can't afford anything, but I want it to be a healthy hobby, not just for the card's sake, but because the more people that are around, the more friendships that can be made, the more fun that can be had in the
Hmm.
space, the more enjoyment we can have, right? So I
Yep.
don't want everything to go to zero. I don't want people to lose money, but I don't want it to be just solely about that either, if that
Right.
makes any sense. There's ways to
N-
do both. There's
Sure
ways
there
to
is.
do both
Yeah.
angles. So,
Everything
but
in this
anyway,
world has a value, and everything has a number on it, regardless of what people are going to say. Oh, no, this is 100% straight hobby. No, this is 100%, financial flip. There's a happy medium in between. You need flippers to get into collectors, pockets, because a collector is a collector at heart, through and through, no matter what. So they're going to have to buy from flippers, and they're going to have to buy from dealers. So there's nothing wrong with it. It really isn't.
yeah, there's a space for all of us, and it's no
Yep.
matter what you do it for. I mean, let's be honest. You go to shows a lot. There's a lot of dealers that go to these shows that aren't just in it since the pandemic. They've been
Hmm.
doing this stuff for longer than I've probably been alive. And many of those folks, they don't really collect. They're sports card dealers.
Yeah.
And we have to understand if they didn't exist, this hobby wouldn't still exist.
Right.
So there is absolutely nothing wrong with somebody that makes a living or sells sports cards or whatever. Because if it wasn't for those lovely people, I mean, your boy Dell just dropped off hundreds of refractors to you last week or something, and he's a
Yep.
dealer.
Yep.
If we looked at people and said, "Oh, you sell sports cards, you're a bad person," it would be hypocritical because then it would be like, well, who are we buying our stuff from, right? So
Yep.
there's angles for everybody.
Yeah.
I just think and I pray that if this acquisition happens and then they have tops and everything, that they sit down and evaluate and say, all right, we have these and we have these. Let's keep this stuff. There's going to be like a whiteboard or a white wall that
Wall.
has a bunch of
Yeah.
notes and scratches and this and that and the other. And that's what I want. Like, I want them to take pieces of every pie and say, folks really love this. Folks don't really care for this. This could be improved. And that's another thing we didn't even really touch on much, but this product it could use a little improvement. Let's try to improve it and make it better. And bring it all about. And instead of it being this Panini versus Tops and Panini's trash, and Tops is great, and let Fanatics bring this back to giving us good quality, giving us good products, hopefully giving us better prices and stuff that we love and enjoy, and that when somebody walks into the sports card hobby, their first question is, where the hell do I go now? That it's more open. They know what people are like. How do I put it? They know the path to take, essentially.
Mhm.
I think hockey is done very well because with Upper Deck, the collector space, it's very like I haven't even been in hockey cards that long, but I know the ones you want to go for, the popular ones, the cards you want of a particular player, you want a Young Gun, you want an SP Authentic Future Watch Auto, and you want their Cup RPA. Those are the three that you want to go for. All the other ones, they're cool, they look nice. Upper Deck puts great products, but those three are the ones that if you want longevity from your card, if you want to invest in a card, you want one of those three. And I love that about Upper Deck because they can put other products out to make make hockey collecting fun,
Mhm.
but they're like you know which ones are the ones people want.
But
So
that's a much smaller market too, though. There.
exactly.
So
It's
there's.
small, but Upper Deck has always been pretty good with in fact, I know it won't happen, or I shouldn't say it won't, but I know it's unlikely it'll happen. But that was the company I really wished Fanatics made a push for because Upper Deck makes some of the best products on the market. Like if we got Upper Deck with all of the licensing, SP
Yeah,
Authentic Football,
yeah. But
oh
can
man,
you imagine the cost of for that to have all those exclusives and the exclusive
Upper
athletes?
Michael Jordan access,
Yeah, that's
LeBron
crazy.
auto access. I know you're not a LeBron fan, but it would change. That would have changed the hobby. That would have
Yeah,
definitely that would have changed the hobby. But
yeah.
anyway, it's been a good discussion. I know you have to head out here soon, so we'll wrap this up. Is there any other any other points you'd like to make before we close out of this?
No, sir. I think we covered them.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening. Please, we say it every time. One of the biggest aspects to this podcast is we want your involvement. So please hit the like button if you enjoyed the conversation. Subscribe if you haven't. But more importantly, comment down below and join in the chatter. Let us know your thoughts. What product? Tell us below. What products would you like to see from Tops? Give us 3 products from Tops and 3 products from Panini that you would like to see saved, and then give us a product from each that you think could be scratched. Um, but comment down below, join in the chatter, and as always, guys, please stay safe, and we appreciate you. Thank you.